On today's Domain Sherpa, we learn how a businessman in a local domain niche encountered a pivotal problem that caused him to rethink putting all his eggs in one basket, bought an exact match domain, which gave him the credibility to secure a key contract, and the rest is history. Enjoy the show. First, serious about online trading? Secure your funds, keep your merchandise safe, and use a company that keeps the buyer and seller protected the whole way through. That's escrow.com. Payments you can trust. Finally, if you're a domain name investor, don't you have unique legal needs that require domain name technical know-how and industry experience? That's why you need Stephen Lieberman of Greenberg & Lieberman or Jason Schaefer of Esquire.com. Go search for Jason Schaefer or Stephen Lieberman on Domain Sherpa, watch their interviews, and you can see for yourself that they can clearly explain issues, can help you with buy-sell agreements, deal with website content issues and UDRP actions, and even help you write your website terms and conditions. Stephen Lieberman and Jason Schaefer are the lawyers to call for internet legal issues. See for yourself at Esquire.com or APlegal.com. Hey, Sherpa Network. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Tess Diaz, executive producer of DomainSherpa.com, and today we're doing a one-on-one interview with serial entrepreneur and .co.nz domain investor Adrian McKeown. You started getting into .co.nz, and by getting into, were you buying new registrations? Were you buying expired names? What were you doing?
Well, I mean, I had a few domain names for my clothing business, sort of clothing related. But when I started to start investing, I started to, because I've been listening to DomainSherpa for a couple of years at that point. I knew about dropping domains and expired domains, so I found a New Zealand site that did that, and you just started buying expired domains. I didn't want to hand register because it's obviously a bit of a minefield, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can just end up with be stuck with a lot of crappy domains. So I just bought domains on the drop. And you can still buy bad domains on the drop, of course, but that's sort of what I started doing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean,
and then you would resell them.
Well, yeah, I mean that was the plan. So I mean, going back, I was obviously a big fan of Rick's blog, and I learned all about branding there. Obviously, when you start, you just buy a whole bunch of domains. You think you know what you're doing, but you don't really. It's not really until you get some sales under your belt, until you sort of start to realize how it sort of works. But yes, I started buying domains there, and I started going quite hard into it. I mean, the problem with the New Zealand market is there's only 4 million people here, so it's quite a small market. I wasn't selling anything. I was buying domains, and I was sort of, because obviously with a lot of the Sherpa interviews, people have thousands, 5,000 domains in their portfolio. And I thought, well, I need to have a lot of domains to do this. So I just started buying domains, and, the quality wasn't really there. I was really just a collector at that point. I hadn't sold any, I wasn't selling any. I didn't really know what I was doing, but, it's fun. It's fun to buy domains and win auctions and that sort of thing. And at that point, I had no landers on my domain. So it was just, I thought, because I know how to use Whois, I thought everyone would use Whois to find me and send me offers. So I never had any landing pages or anything like that, which was obviously a bit of a mistake. And sort of just before this, I obviously being an online business sort of guy, I started looking at AdSense websites, and I'd started that a couple of years before. And then the AdSense website started to take off. So I sort of left the domaining idea for a while.
Okay. And is this kind of education in this space, is that what led to you acquiring makeup.co.nz?
Definitely. So listening to all the DomainSherpa shows, learning what a good domain was, learning about all these category killer domain names like like hotels.com, and how they were able to build a big business business off that. It really stuck in my mind. I thought, well, maybe that could be done. It might be too late to get a great .com, a one-word category killer.com, but maybe there's some in New Zealand that aren't taken yet, because I didn't really see any hotels.co.nz or anything like that. I never really saw anything like that. So I thought, well, surely I can do that. So that sort of led us to that domain. At sort of about this time as well, sort of back to 2009, I started doing AdSense websites. So it's just another online sort of business, online venture.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, I had about 35 websites, so quite a lot of websites. I wasn't building them and tuning them like a lot of people do. A lot of people build them just for ads. I was sort of building them to make a proper website, and I bought and sold a few existing websites as well. So I was sort of just after the traffic, so I could put AdSense ads on those. So I was really doing that quite well in about 2011, 2012.
Okay.
A lot of sort of travel websites, a lot of affiliate stuff, daily deals, just anything that was hot at the time. And I mean, the AdSense sort of model, it was quite hot at that time, and it started to take off. So I actually sold my clothing business to go full time into making these AdSense, or it was mainly travel websites, travel websites in New Zealand, just about local cities or about the country in general.
Oh, neat.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So now you're at a juncture where you're ready for the next thing, and you've got some cash from selling your business, and it sounds like quite a bit of education, both from your experience and very thorough research. And then then let's jump ahead and tell me how makeup got on your radar, because I'm guessing you weren't out buying any.
No. Well, yeah, it's a funny story. So what led us to that was, I mean, I was working from home, sort of self-employed, and I was making a decent living off it, and that sort of thing. And my girlfriend at the time, Claire, she was sort of inspired by that. She was, she was driving off to work every day, going to work at the local supermarket. And she was like, why can't I laze around in bed all day? I mean, not that I was doing that, but why can't I chill at home like you do? So she'd go off to work and I'd chill at home. I mean, really, I was working, 11 hours a day, just trying to build these sites up and add content and SEO and build all of that. I mean, I spent almost 2 years, almost full time, just learning SEO, and I got really good at it and that sort of thing. I mean, when you're building sort of sites that rely on Google traffic, you have to know what you're doing. So I learned a lot about SEO. But Claire, who's actually my fiance now, she was like,
"Congratulations!
How do I get a business and so I don't have to go work at the supermarket?" So that led us to the makeup thing. So we were sort of like, how can we make a business for Claire to do, like a part-time business, do it at night, just have a bit of extra money. So we, I think that one of the first things that we did was Halloween costumes. I mean, obviously I was in the clothing sort of area and I'd sold on this auction website. So I thought, well, what can we do for Claire? So we thought, let's sell some products and we'll sell them on this Trade Me auction site. So we did that. We started with Halloween costumes.
And you were back at Trade Me paying them your commission.
Yeah. Well, it was Claire's thing. I wanted to set up something for Claire to do, obviously together. So she got it all set up herself, with that sort of thing, on Trade Me. She was the one paying the Trade Me fees, not me this time. But
clever.
The Halloween costumes, they didn't go very well. And we sort of stumbled across different products. We tried various things, and it's always tough trying to pick what products are going to sell well. But I did say to her, look, if you want to be serious about selling things online, you're going to need a bit of money, to invest in products and that sort of thing. So, and she didn't really have any money, and I had some money and I put some money in, but I sort of said, like, if you're serious about this, you need to get some money together. So she actually sold her car, which, I had a car, so I could just drive around. So she sold her car. She got $3,000 for it, I believe, and that was sort of the seed money to get started in her next thing, and that's what led us to the makeup thing. So, we were looking for products to sell, and we stumbled across this. It's like a face cleaner. It's like a vibrating. They're called Clarisonic. It's like a vibrating face cleaner for removing makeup, and we sold that long time ago in the early days on Trade Me, and she did okay selling those, but then Trade Me emailed one day to say, this has a US plug, this is not a New Zealand plug, you can't sell it, because obviously we were importing from the US and the plug was different. We'd always sold them with the New Zealand adapter, and we thought that was fine, but for some reason they didn't want us selling anything that had a standard US plug. So
and clearly your customers thought that was fine too, because they were buying them. So the problem was the middleman. So you cut them out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing with this product is it's only got a US plug. They didn't make New Zealand versions of it. I mean, it wasn't even sold in New Zealand. So we brought them over from the US, and just and we even put we bought all the little adapters and we'd include it in the order, so people could use it here. And then we got told, no, you can't sell it because it's got a US plug. And we're like, okay. And we're like, so what? That's it? And they're like, yeah, you can't sell it. And we're like, well, okay. So what do we do? That was our product that was sort of doing okay with. And then Claire's sort of like, well, why don't we just sell actual makeup? And I'm like, nah. It's probably too low cost. You might probably not make enough on it to be worth it. You need to sell something more like a $60 item or a $50 item rather than a $10 item. So I sort of put her off that, but she was sort of keen to do that. So I thought, okay, look, try it, whatever. So yeah, we did that, and it started to sort of work on Trade Me. So we weren't selling the plug, we were just selling makeup products, and it started to sort of work. And I thought, this is kind of interesting. And I thought, well, after this problem with the auction site, I thought, well, we should probably make our own website, because we don't want to have all our eggs in one basket.
Smart.
So yeah, so we made the first dedicated makeup website in New Zealand. There were a couple of sort of general beauty sites just selling various things, but there was no sort of big company, and there was no one selling just makeup. So we thought, well, let's just make a makeup website, and we called it something very weird. It was called Addicted To. So addicted, and then the number 2. So addicted2.co.nz. That was our website. I guess you call that a brandable. I guess the idea with that was, because we still weren't sure what Claire wanted to end up selling. Was it going to be makeup? Is it going to be clothing? Is it going to be something else? We thought we'd leave it sort of open so we could pivot to something else later if the makeup thing didn't work out. So we started with that great domain, addicted2.co.nz. And yeah, I mean, 6 months go by and the website's actually doing quite well. And we thought, well, we've got something here. Obviously, I'd run this e-commerce business before, and I could see the growth curve. And I was like, oh, this could be more than my clothing business if we really put effort into this. So I sort of put my AdSense website to the side, and that was my full-time thing. And I thought, I need to sort of help her with this, because this could be something good.
So she went all in with the car, and now you're seeing the progress and you're ready to go all in. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I sort of still had the websites, and I could sort of leave them because they were sort of kind of almost automated. You know, obviously, a static website and people clicking ads and they're coming from Google. So it didn't really require too much ongoing maintenance. So yeah, I had a bit of time and I could help her. So we went away for a trip as well around that time, and she wanted to quit her job. I don't know, she just quit. And I'm sort of like, okay, well, okay, fine. What are we going to do? Like, she just wanted to go full steam into it. You know, we obviously weren't making enough money, and it was maybe $100 a week or $200 a week on it, so not enough to replace her income. But she did it, and yeah, we just went from there. So, I mean, obviously, listening to DomainSherpa and learning about domains all these years, and all these people that have been interviewed, I knew the value of a category category killer domain. So, you know, as I said before, hotels.com, towing.com, if you can get the domain name that describes or defines that industry completely, the best domain name for that industry, it seemed like people were doing well. They were building businesses on these generic exact match domains. So, you know, we had this sort of funny domain name, and I thought, well, we're doing makeup, it's working. What if we got makeup.co.nz? So, you know, I had a bit of a look around. It wasn't being used. And I thought, wow, nah, we won't do that. I don't have any money to buy a domain like that anyway. So we just left it. But, you know, keep learning, keep listening, and it started to grow on us that maybe we should, you know, because the business was still growing every month. It was up. And we're like, maybe we should get this domain name. So yeah, we inquired, and turns out it's almost, well, I would say it's New Zealand's largest domain name investor owned it. So we thought, oh, well, this could be an interesting price.
Okay, I have to know, who's New Zealand's largest domain investor? Do I know?
I don't know. His name's Garth. He's my, I assume he's the largest. He's quite a hidden sort of guy. He doesn't put himself out there. So yeah, but okay. I knew who he was. I knew who he was from buying domains on the drop. I knew the name.
I bet. Okay, so you recognized him. You knew at least, you know, what he knew about domains, and I'm sure that affected your approach. So then you went, and I want to pause for a moment and say, what I'm hearing here is kind of neat, Adrian, that your business was successful, and when you had a problem with the eBay type site shutting you down, that's what led you to branch out and get your own domain. The giant amounts that you were paying them kind of made you want to leave, but it wasn't enough to make it happen. But them shutting your main product down really caused one of the best changes you've ever made. And then the second thing of your business partner quitting her job is what really made you start saying, we need a better domain. If we're going to be serious, we need to step this up. So now you're ready to reach out to Garth. And how did you reach out to him?
Yeah, so obviously when you're a domainer, and well, I was a part-time trainee domainer at that point, you know that if it's a good domain name, you're probably going to have to pay up for it. And I guess it was bad luck that, well, I mean, maybe it was good luck. I thought it was bad luck that, you know, a domain investor owned it, because I knew they'd want a high price, but I guess it was great it was not being used, because you'd think a domain name like that would be owned by some big company and it would be being used.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't used, and so that was good. But yeah, we thought about it for a while, because I thought like, oh, you know, I don't want to spend thousands on a domain. I thought, oh, you know, is this business going to go anywhere? But it just became clear that the business had legs, so we had to at least inquire about the domain. So yeah, we went to the domain. I can't remember whether it had. Yeah, I think it was on Domain Name Sales, the old uni registry platform. And so we thought, okay, let's inquire. And, you know, we filled out the form. It asked for a minimum offer. So we put, you know, $10 or $20 or something like that. And we clicked OK, and it stopped us. It said, you know, minimum offer $3,000. And we're like, oh, okay, $3,000, okay. But then we're like, it's minimum offer. So what does that mean? So, okay, it forced us to put 3,000 in. You couldn't put anything else in, 3,000 or higher. So we put 3,000 in and thought, well, I guess we'd probably pay 3,000. It's a pretty good domain. Like we had no plans of spending that much, but we did it. We wanted to see the price, and we heard back. And I can't remember exactly what he came back with, but he sort of said, 3,000 is the starting point. Give me a higher offer. And we're like, okay, well, this could go anywhere. This could go very high. And I'm not, we didn't want to bid on ourselves or make an offer. We just made an offer we didn't really want to make. So we thought, this is going to be too hard. So we left it. And then, maybe 2 weeks later, we're like, look, we have to at least see how much this domain would be, because, if we just walk away and leave it, someone else might get it, or, he might only want 4,000, and that, that could maybe be doable. We use up all our money for stock, but, we could probably make it work. We contacted him back a couple of weeks later, and we said, look, how much? I think he said, no, just give me an offer and I'll let you know. So I think we put 4,000 or something. And he came back and said, I always remember, he said, I wouldn't feel comfortable selling the domain at that level. And he quoted some other comps as well. And I quoted a comp at 5,000 for supplements.co.nz, protein powders and that sort of thing. I thought, well, okay, if supplements was 5,000, this should probably be more. So I thought, are we in for, and by this time we sort of really want the domain. I'm like, are we in for like 10,000 or 20,000 or something? Because you'd think a domain like that could be worth something like that. But it ended up we walked away with it for about 5,500. This is New Zealand dollars, so maybe take a third off. So call it $4,000 US, a rough sort of price. And we thought we were crazy. I mean, $5,000 on a New Zealand domain name. I didn't know anyone who bought a domain name of that sort of size. I didn't even know if domains went for that sort of value in New Zealand, because there's almost no comps of New Zealand domain sales. And if you look on Name Bio, there's about 70 comps ever, and that's over 10 years or so. So we didn't really have much to go on, but we knew we could do well with that domain. So we bought it, and we never looked back.
Wow, good for you. And what did you see once you bought it and transitioned over to that? How did that affect your marketing budget, your cost of customer acquisition, your sales? What did you see, and how soon, in what time frame?
Yeah, so I think we bought it in May of 2013, and we were sort of like, okay, it was quite a process to get it and buy it and actually pay the money, and we're like, wow, and then we got it, and we're like, okay, that's good, great. What do we do? And we just sort of left it for a little while, because we're like, what do we do? How do we change the website over, and what do we do?
That's a big question. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously I've been doing SEO, so I'm like, you've got to transition the site and do it all, and so it took us a couple of months to sort of get all that sorted. And at that point we thought, well, we've got to redesign the website because now we've got more of a official sounding name. We've got to get rid of this black and pink nightmare we've got going on. So we had to obviously we had to start from scratch again. So July 2013, we relaunched under makeup.co.nz. And yeah, I mean, instantly it was more popular. I guess people thought it was more legitimate. And I actually stopped doing my, so sort of a couple of months after July, I stopped doing my AdSense websites. I put them to the side and started full-time on makeup.co.nz. It's a mouthful, makeup.co.nz. So I was basically contacting new suppliers and trying to drum up supply of new products. And we managed to get it. Oh, sorry, go on.
I mean, that's very quick. So May, you acquired the domain. 2 months later, you launched the new website. And about 2 months after that, you're quitting your other job and seeing an instant uptick. Do you have any figures, like percentage-wise, of what that uptick was, or what?
At that sort of point in 2013, it was growing each month, but it wasn't. I mean, we didn't have much inventory at that point. We only had a few products. I don't know, maybe 20 products. But the domain name was sort of what triggered me to go, you know, this is something here. We've got this domain. We've put all this money into it. This could be big. Why don't I put all my effort? Because obviously I didn't know anything about makeup at that time. I sort of thought about it as Claire's little hobby. I'll just leave her to do it and I'll help her when she needs it. But, you know, I saw it had legs and we got the domain. So let's do it, you know, let's do it. So we started contacting suppliers. We managed to get quite a big contract with NYX Cosmetics, which is a large makeup company, global company. It's a US company.
Mm-hmm. Was that a difficult contract to get? Do you think the credibility of your name contributed to your success in getting that contract?
I think it was probably more a personal connection at the beginning. Claire had contacted the distributor quite a while ago, quite a while before, and they weren't ready to launch in Australia and New Zealand at that time. But when we called later in the year, she remembered us and she sort of, you know, she wanted to deal with us when she was eventually ready. And when she became ready, we managed to pick it up. I mean, at this point, we were still at home. We were running out of the spare bedroom. Obviously, we didn't tell anyone that. You know, a startup, that sort of thing. But yeah, I think the domain name definitely helped because obviously the site was live by that point. I think it definitely helped getting that contract, but it was that contract that really set us off on a growth path. I remember when we launched that brand in November, they had a lot of products. Like I think we had 150 different products, and we'd been used to having about 20 or 30. So it was a big growth in the amount of work and amount of products on the site. And we remember staying up late all night trying to get the products up because we were launching the next day. And we're like, wow, this is a lot of work getting all these products up. But yeah, we launched it and it was amazing. I guess it was that brand, that sort of time. Because at that point in time, as I said, we were the first makeup website. There was no one selling makeup or not popular brands at that time. So our sort of focus early on was to get especially US brands, US makeup brands, and bring them to New Zealand. Because New Zealand, we're halfway around the world.
And were you warehousing this?
Well, we were just running it from home. We were running it in a spare bedroom.
Oh, so the makeup was in your spare bedroom, and you and Claire and your computers and phones and all that.
Yeah. So it was quite a squeeze.
I bet. So, and now New Zealand is 2 islands?
Yeah, there's a North Island and a South Island. And I think on the globe from the US, we're almost, I wonder if we're halfway, we're quite a way away. I think it's about an 11-hour flight So quite a distance. So a lot of US companies, or a lot of global companies, they forget about New Zealand. It's so small, and it's such a small market. There's only 4 million people here. So at that time, we didn't have access to a lot of stuff. So in terms of makeup, we didn't have all the, well, obviously we had like L'Oreal and Maybelline, like the very, very big brands, but a lot of brands just don't worry about this sort of this corner of the world. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of, that's sort of how the sort of edge we had at that point. We were the site to bring all these brands over, and that's how we started growing.
And forgive me, it sounds like a slightly accidental strategy, but you made a series of brilliant choices along the way, and now this has set you up where sounds like very difficult to knock you off the number one position in this perfect niche market. And because of it, maybe because it's 2 islands, that the culture, the mindset is .co.nz, that they're not looking to a larger source. And even if they are now, you're so well established, right?
Definitely. I mean, it's being in a country that's so far away from, I guess, where everything's happening. Things are a lot slower. Our seasons are opposite. So when you're having summer, we're having winter. So, in terms of fashion, the fashion seasons are all messed up, and it just takes some business person or some company in New Zealand to bring things over here to have access to them. And so obviously the makeup was like that. Also at that time, obviously it's changed a lot since 2012, 2013. Companies ship globally. Everyone ships everywhere now, but back at that point in time, Kiwis, which are New Zealanders, everyone basically bought on Trade Me. No one bought from, we can't really buy on Amazon. Even today, very limited. I think it's just books.
Really? Why? Because of the warehousing and the shipping?
I think it's the shipping and everything. I mean, if you go back 6 years ago when we started, it was, we're a developed country, but it was it's a long time before we get things here. It's changed now, but back in those days, it was very, finding products was quite hard. But the shipping was so expensive from the US, so no one bought from overseas, really. Everyone just bought on this Trade Me auction site. So as a business person, you could find a product that was popular overseas and bring it to New Zealand and sell it. And that's what...
Smart. Yeah. So did you ever consider, instead of makeup.co.nz, once you had launched that and established yourselves, did you ever consider changing that to a brand or something with more room to pivot beyond makeup? Or did you feel that you'd found your niche and established your credibility, and with such a small market, you're settled and satisfied with this?
I mean, I guess in New Zealand, if you can get big, you tend to stay big because there's less people, less competition, and if you build a name up for yourself, you can sort of generally hold that position. So I mean, I guess that's what we sort of did. I mean, I've got a funny story. Like when we were at home, we were flatting, so we had flatmates, and I just remember having orders. We were packing all the way down the hallway and stock in the lounge room and boxes everywhere. And our flatmates are like, what are you guys doing? Like, and I was like, please, like, sorry, that's, I just need to put this here. And they're like, what's going on in this flat? So we realized we needed to like get some space, like get a warehouse.
Do you have pictures of that?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. I'll see
your humble beginnings. That's really neat. So basically, in your apartment complex, like in the hallway, you had these packages all lined up going all the way down the hall. That's what
we're in a standalone house, but within the hallway of the house and that sort of thing.
Okay.
And in the lounge room, there's boxes everywhere, and we were just sort of taking over the house. So we thought, let's not be dicks. Let's get some space. So yeah, we found a warehouse just around the corner. We thought, let's have it close by. So it was literally 2 doors up in the next sort of street, and we could sort of see it from our lounge window. This sort of this warehouse complex. So we rented some space there. And yeah, I mean, you rent space, you walk in and you're like, how are we, like, this is so big. But that was quite small for warehouse space, but we just did it. And, we were growing. We could see, like, well, probably in 6 months, we could maybe fill this up a little bit. Mm-hmm. But we never thought we'd fill up that sort of space, but we eventually did.
Are you still in that same space?
Yeah. Fast forward a couple of years, we've got staff, and obviously we've got the warehouse, and it's all full of stuff, and it's sort of hard to move, and it's been an interesting journey since sort of 2013, 14 when it started taking off. It took us about 2.5 years to get to about $1 million in sales.
Okay.
So yeah, really, really fast growth, and it takes its toll, but I guess we had the timing right, and we just kept adding new brands and kept growing. I guess we just got great timing, and the domain name certainly helped us add some credibility to us being a startup. But yeah, now we've got about 25 brands, which keeps us very busy.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's impacted your SEO as well?
Yeah. I mean, I've got some more points I can talk on later about SEO and about the domain name. But if we didn't get that domain name, I don't think we would have got as big as we have, and I don't think we would have been as incentivized or as motivated to grow it where it is now. I guess when you get a category killer domain, you've got it's big shoes to fill. You've got to do something with it. So it was sort of motivation to really build something big, and we've always just pushed to try and get as big as we can. Still sticking with just selling makeup though to fit with a domain name. We could have branched out to, as you were saying earlier, why didn't we branch out? But we thought, let's just stick with one product and be the best we can at it. So we didn't stock perfume or other beauty products or skincare. We just stuck just with makeup. And there's positives and negatives to that, but I think we did well just sticking to the domain name, and it definitely helped us niche down into just having makeup. Yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah. So now you have built this up to be very successful. Like you said, you have staff of your own. Tell me, now you found the free time again. I mean, I can hear, Adrian, everything that you say. You have such an entrepreneur's heart. So now you're interested in investing in .com domains. And I just think this is a really different approach. Most people we see start right out with .com. And oftentimes I would recommend that. However, with this unique history of .nz and how they approach, how they utilize co.nz instead of .com, that makes sense. And your strategy there sounded perfect for that environment. And now you're ready. It sounds like you've mastered a lot. You understand, products and services, what would sell, what wouldn't, from, success and failure with the co.nz drops. So now how are you beginning? How long ago did you start investing in .coms? I don't mean way back when. I mean now that you're getting started again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only the last couple of months. Okay. I'm classing myself as a newbie domainer. I guess I'm sort of starting again. I can talk a bit about my co.nz investing, and that sort of can lead into the .com stuff. As I mentioned earlier, I started investing in the .co.nz domains. I guess what sort of really got me into domains was the success of the makeup business. I thought, well, domain names are powerful. They're, more than just investing as a domainer. They're great tools for branding and that sort of thing. I mean, I saw exactly firsthand the success you can have with an exact match or even just a great domain name. So it made me think. And I mean, obviously we paid $5,000 for ours, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be great to sell domain names for $5,000 all day?
Sure, it would. So tell me, maybe, because we want to keep it on time, tell me about like 3 to 5 .co.nzs that you bought and either you tried to sell and it wasn't successful, or you did sell, and what you learned from those successes and failures that you're applying now. Can you think?
Yeah. So basically, I got into .co.nz investing, just muddled my way through and bought a whole bunch of domains, just like everyone seems to do, and dropped a lot and that sort of thing. But I think it was joining FD and having FD.com having actual landing pages, which really helped. Just having a page where someone can just submit an offer and get things rolling. So yeah, a couple of the domains I bought and sold would be Cryo, which is CRYO, which is cryotherapy. I don't know if people have seen those. You sort of stand in a freezer and it freezes you for 2 minutes, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a weird sort of new sort of health device, I guess.
Super expensive, health/beauty treatment. You had Cryo, and it's a 4-letter, cryo.co.nz.
That's right. Yeah, I saw it on the drops, and I think I got it for $29, and ended up selling it for $950. So it was a great one. Markup there. Yeah.
Okay. What's another one?
Another one would be Haven,
Safe Haven.
Yeah, Safe Haven. Yeah, that sort of thing. Just the word Haven, just as a sort of a brandable name, I guess.
Yeah.
That was actually the same price, $950 sale.
And that was another you bought on a drop?
Yes, it was actually the same price, $29 on the drop. I've got a third one here, Rev, REV, .co.nz, so like Rev engine, Rev a car. It went to a car yard. And that was actually the same. That was $950 sale, $29 buy. I just picked these randomly, and they all seem to be the same. So the thing with the New Zealand domain market.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, with the New Zealand domain market, it's very small. I mean, there's 4 million people here. It's a very small market. There's no wholesale of domains. There's no aftermarket platforms. It's just a few people, I think. It's just it's very small.
Yeah.
So we don't sort of get the big sort of thousands and millions of dollars in sales.
But probably being that small, people expect an even better domain name. So what I'm hearing is you sold a 3-letter, a 4-letter, and a 5-letter, basically one word domains. They're all owned by end users now. Rev.com is about the revolution in, electric cars. Haven, I said Rev.com, rev.co.nz. Haven.co.nz is a financial company, and Cryo is, I like it actually, Cryo, cooler you, better you. So, I mean, that really, really makes sense. And while you couldn't get those names in .com, and it doesn't sound like your market would want to, .com will drill down and get something much longer because they can't get a 4-letter domain like you did. But that really, really makes sense. So did you have any interesting failures in, or like surprising things that didn't sell?
I mean, I've dropped hundreds of domains, New Zealand domains. You buy them thinking they're good, and I mean, obviously, I came back from a time when exact match sites were, like product names like I don't know, electric bicycles. That sort of domain name would have been hot back in 2008 to 2011. So I bought a lot of good domains, but in the New Zealand market, it's very, things just don't, it's very selective of what people buy. As I say, we don't really, some people do sell domains in the thousands. I tend to just turn and burn. I like to just buy domains and sell them quite quickly. I don't tend to hold out for big money. I'd rather.
Yeah. And you probably know you have a limited clientele who's going to buy them too. So that's going to affect your strategy. Okay, so now you're ready for .com. You started buying. Have you chosen a particular niche? Are you? What's your strategy with .com buying now? If you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, well, as I say, I've sold dozens and dozens of New Zealand sort of domains, and each sale I sort of learned like what works. Like, oh, that kind of domain works. Okay, go more that sort of way. So sort of learning it as you go. I think everyone does that. But I sort of thought there's not enough inventory in New Zealand.
Right.
I buy all I can, and there's just not enough to, it's a nice little hobby, and it's cool to see everything working, and it's cool to buy something and then someone buys it off you, 6 months later or a year later. It's kind of fun. As I said, there's no wholesale market here, so there's no buying and selling between domainers.
That's key. To realize that is important, and to realize when it's time to drill down into a niche and when it's time to expand. So now you're going global.
Yeah. I mean, with the New Zealand domains, there's no point acquiring them off private people. It's just not the end user sales there. So yeah, I sort of ran out of inventory, I guess, and thought, well, I know how to do this now. I've spent years doing it. May as well just give .com a go finally, because every week listening to DomainSherpa and all the buys and sells, and it sort of sinks in, and you think, well, great for .com, but I can't do it here. And I thought, look, let's just do it. So I decided to go investor.com. I guess the thing is that there are two different markets. Like, I know the New Zealand domain market, but I know about the .com, but I don't know the ins and outs of exactly how to do it. So I'm taking more of a research approach to this, because obviously I could just go out and spend tens of thousands of dollars on domain names, but I don't want to be. I've done my time dropping hundreds of domains. I don't want to be doing that. So I want to go a bit slower. So because I've sort of got knowledge of how to be a domainer, but I'm going into a completely new area, I thought, why not just sort of document how I'm doing it? I mean, I'm quite methodical on how I like to do things. So I thought, why not do a blog? Just document how I'm doing it, because new people to domains always waste a lot of money, and like me, you give up. But there is a way to do it. I thought, why not just blog about it? So I started a blog, and I thought it could be interesting for other people to follow me be a newbie in .com.
You're a re-newbie. And Adrian, that's how I reached out to you. I don't know if you know that, but your blog is nzdomainer.com.
Right.
Which I didn't realize how special it was that you chose to give it a .com. But it caught my eye, because you posted something that said, talked about your successes and said that you'd learned so much from Sherpa. And so I thought, it's great for the Sherpa network to hear someone applying the education that we give and understanding it. And then super cool, you started paper trading. So you're just following and that's what we do on, every Sherpa review. We say, try to really hold on, press pause, listen to the domains and think, what would you buy or what do you think? And so you're taking that to the next level and paper trading them. I think that's awesome. And then you're documenting on your blog how the paper trading is going.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, as I've said, I'm a newbie to .com. I'd love to be buying one-word domains, but I'm not at that point yet. I want to sort of learn from the ground up. So as I sort of build my portfolio and go ahead with .com, I'll be documenting along the way what I'm doing and the new strategies I'm learning and that sort of thing. I'm sort of taking the approach here just to be an open book because I am completely new. I've got after all I've learned from Sherpa, I thought, well, I don't think anyone's really done a blog where they've documented their journey from beginning to end. And I guess I sort of have a unique perspective where I do know about domains, but I'm fresh in .com. So I thought, well, just document it and see how it goes. So so obviously I'm a newbie here, but if I can help people save money by not buying crappy domains, that would at least be something good. And I can share my thoughts on what makes a good name as well, because I obviously do have knowledge of that in the New Zealand market. But I do want to be clear that the site's not just for newbie domainers. I hope to appeal to experienced domainers as well. So it won't just be sort of newbie stuff. I'll be talking about general things and high-level thoughts about branding and business as it goes along. Because I have run businesses for 15 years or so, and we've had this great success with makeup.co.nz, and I've bought and sold businesses and websites and that. So I think I've got sort of something sort of unique to offer the domaining sort of space.
Yeah, I agree. Your perspective is different. You've come from a different angle, and that makes you see and catch things that others may not. And you're also, a very thorough researcher. And I see a lot in you of that openness to sharing your knowledge. That's so at the heart of what we do here. And I really think, much of the domain community as well. So super, super cool. I'm really enjoying, checking out your blog posts. And are you keeping a daily spreadsheet? I see on here your paper trading post. Are you keeping a daily spreadsheet of, what you think it'll sell for and what it actually does sell for?
Yeah, so I mean, as I'm starting from complete scratch, I'm writing everything I'm doing as a new domainer, because I'm treating myself as completely new to domains. So a couple of the blog posts recently have been quite sort of focused towards newbies. So namebio.com they do daily market reports, as everyone knows, daily list of domains that have sold in the past 24 hours. And for me, I mean, that's a great place to sort of see what's going on, because, I know the New Zealand market, but I don't really know what's going on .com. I don't know the sell prices, the buy prices. Obviously I have what I hear on Sherpa, but in terms of actually looking closely at it, I've never done that. So NameBio is great. I check that every day. And yeah, on that paper trading thing, I thought, why don't I test my valuation skills? So essentially what I do is I go to GoDaddy auctions and I just look down the list of like ending soon, so ending in the next 24 hours. And I just pick out ones I like. Like, not every domain name you like will appeal to you. And, some might be 3 characters, some might be 3 words. So I sort of go down, I pick the ones I like, and I put them in the spreadsheet, and I sort of guess, what will these sell for in the next 24 hours on GoDaddy auctions? and then the next day I flick over to name bio, and most of them will appear in the name bio reports, and I just sort of check how I did. So it's sort of like that share trading, like paper trading shares, like you take a position and you see how it does over time. At least with domains, it's only overnight, so you can do this every day. Look at GoDaddy auctions, pick a few domains, guess the price, and then check it the next day.
Yeah, that's super cool. Do you follow it later and see if those domains were flipped or sold to an end user, or if they're still being held by their by whomever bought? Because we've all bought domains at auction that no one should have bought, right? So do you have something in place, or do you plan to have something in place as you progress to watch that part of it as well?
That's a good point. What you can normally tell from name bio is whether the domain sold to an investor or an end user. I mean, you can tell by the price if it's sort of if you look at the top end, if a domain sold for $5,000 or more, you can generally say it's sold to an end user. I mean, it's obviously not always the case, but you can sort of work out whether it's sold to an end user or a domainer. So obviously the sales to other domainers aren't really helpful when you want to see like the buy price and then the sell price. You want to see, what's an end user price for these domains I like, and that's sort of where I look on GoDaddy, and then if an end user bought it, what did it sell for? The thing with GoDaddy is it's a lot of investors on there. It's not a lot of end users. So, but it's just sort of learning how the auctions work and what sort of prices you might need to pay to pick up .coms at wholesale. I'm just trying to be a sponge and suck up as much information as I can from name bio and just auctions, and just sort of learn how the industry works. And as I sort of learn that and learn techniques and have buys and sells, I definitely want to put that on the blog, and I have been, just to sort of share and just show how I'm doing it. I'm happy to, as I'm new, I'm happy to look dumb. I'm happy to look like I don't know what I'm doing. It's fine, because .com, I'm not expecting too much early on.
It takes a lot of smarts to know that there's stuff you don't know, and a lot of self-confidence to share that journey. So, I mean, you sound like a very smart guy, Adrian. So, NamesCon, are you going then? All the way from New Zealand?
Yeah, I definitely want to attend. Obviously, heard about doing conferences for years on Sherpa. NamesCon is the conference now. So yeah, I want to head over and just have a look around. I'm going to bring Claire, my partner, my business partner, my fiance, who also runs the makeup.co.nz. We're going to both go over. So yeah, I'm interested to meet up with people and that sort of thing. I mean, I've got a few domainers I talk to over Twitter. So yeah, I'm interested just learn from panelists and meet other domainers and that sort of thing. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that's fantastic. Me too. And you know what? So I'll meet you there. That'll be good. I'd like to meet you and Claire.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask, shoot, I can't remember what I wanted to ask. I remember. How would you feel about sending your portfolio in for a DomainSherpa review? I'm always looking for a good portfolio. And I think a lot of people are nervous to send theirs in. But really it's constructive, helpful feedback. But the majority of the people who send them in don't have the same level of education that you do, or that many of our listeners do, but they're too chicken.
Yeah.
Are you going to send us a portfolio to review? Putting you on the spot.
I think the .co.nz, I've thought about that sort of thing over the years. Every time I listen to a DomainSherpa show, a review, I'm like, what if I sent my portfolio in? I think the fact that my New Zealand portfolio is New Zealand, I don't think people would learn too much from it. But I'm happy to, once I build up more of a .com portfolio, that could be fun. I didn't even think about that.
Send it in. Once you're not buying on paper and you're buying, which is ironic because what are we buying it on? It's all intangible anyway. But when you have some actual .com investments, that'd be really fun to send them over. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can send it over now. I've got one .com. I've got one investment. So I know everyone will be laughing. But yeah, as I say,
is that nzdomainer.com?
Okay, two. That was my first .com I'd bought. I'm not selling that one, but my first investment, it's halosolar.com. So like halo, like a halo, and solar, solar panels.
Solar. Okay, Halo Solar. That's a neat name. Sounds very, very brandable. And you have an instant buy now site already on it. Is that through a company or did you develop that site yourself?
No, that's using the FD.com system. So it's just nice landing page, nice and simple.
Beautiful.
So that's my first. It's my first investment. I haven't had the time. I'm more sort of in the research phase. I thought I'd test out how GoDaddy auctions work. I bought that. Like, okay, like let's do some more research, and I'm just checking name bio each day and just getting more of a feel. I guess I'm going to take this a bit slower than .co.nz, and just I don't want to be stuck with a lot of domains that are hanging around. But I mean that's the first domain. I actually have an offer on it at the moment.
On Halo Solar?
Yeah. So I've actually written about the purchase of this domain on the blog on nzdomainer.com. So if anyone wants to read about the purchase, I thought I maybe had a trademark issue with it. Maybe not, but people can go to the blog and read the post about halosolar.com. But I know I've got an offer. We'll have to see how it goes, but I'll be blogging about that if it sells.
All right, we'll keep an eye out.
I'm an open book. I just want to share what's going on, and I think it'll be interesting for people to read.
Well, it's been really interesting talking with you, Adrian. Before we say goodbye, any shout outs you want to give to your business, your network, any new projects you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've learned a lot from DomainSherpa over the years, and other websites as well. I mean, obviously, the domain industry is quite a nice industry where everyone sort of helps each other. So I just want to give a shout out to obviously Michael Seiger for starting DomainSherpa. I mean, since 2012, I've watched every show or listened to every show. I tend to do the podcasts. Rick Swartz, I've read every blog post, learned so much about branding. So shout outs to Rick. And obviously Frank Schilling, learned a lot from him on interviews over the years in various places. Michael Birkins as well. I mean, Shane Coltra. The DomainSherpa reviews are, you learn so much from those, and I've listened to all the guys over the years, and just learned so much. And I mean, every DomainSherpa guest as well. You learn a little bit from everyone. And of course, Drew Rosner. You got to love Drew. He's not afraid to speak his mind. He just drops so much knowledge about domains and branding, and he's right there in the industry every day, making deals happen. So it's nice to hear about, the buy and sell and the sort of fast turnarounds that he achieves. And I've just learned so much from all the guests and panelists on the show. And I mean, obviously, thank you to you, Tess, for the invite and being the host. And I've been listening to you for 9 months now, all your shows. So you do really well being a host. I know it can get quite heated sometimes, with all the especially the reviews. You do pretty well to keep it all in line and keep it flowing. You've got great questions as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm still learning. After being watching the show for 6 or 7 years, I'm still learning every show. So yeah, I'm a long time fan, and just keep making the shows. It's a great resource for the industry.
Thanks, Adrian. I sure appreciate that. And I guess I'll throw in kind of a shout out, but also a comment to you. Media Options has a newsletter twice a week that we send out to domain investors and all sorts of end users who have, every single person has individually signed up for the newsletter. But I write that twice a week for regular domains. And then we have a special newsletter that you have to sign up separately for. That's our crypto newsletter. But if you're not already signed up, you can sign up at www.x.co/mo-news. So MO like media options news. But we qualify the domains that we put in there and the pricing that they're listed for. So in a way, it's essentially like saying, this is what Drew Roser and Media Options thinks these domains are worth. So that could give you a little insight into what's going on in a different place besides the aftermarket auctions that you're looking at. And typically, while Media Options does not disclose its sales, when you see a domain in there and then you don't, like you'll see a domain in there over and over and over, not every single newsletter, but over 6 months or something, right? And other domains you'll see listed twice and never again.
The domains in your newsletters are, they're the cream of the crop. They make me jealous, I'm like,
well,
they're
some
amazing.
of them some of them are 6-7 figures, but others are even less than makeup.co.nz cost for you. So check it out if you like. Adrian, I'm just delighted that we got to talk, that I got to learn about the difference between kiwis the fruit and kiwis the bird. And but much more than that, about your journey and your courage and curiosity. It sounds like you and Claire make excellent partners who really balance each other's strengths. And I'll see you at NamesCon. Yeah.
And to anyone listening, on Twitter, I'm at NZ Domainer or NZ Domainer on Twitter. So yeah, hit me up. Whatever, I'm keen to interact with other domainers, and obviously check out the blog, nzdomainer.com. If you're an experienced domainer, have a laugh at it. If you're a newbie domainer, learn from it. So yeah, I just hope to, help and entertain where I can.
Well, you seem awfully good at it. All right. Thank you, Adrian, and Sherpa Network. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.